And welcome to another edition of the KATcast. We are just days away from Halloween, so we thought we'd explore scary movies. Now, I will tell you that Jordan J. and I came up with this ourselves because Hilly is not a scary/horror movie fan. However, we're going to dive also into how, well, what is it about scary movies that Hilly doesn't like, and what does he consider a scary movie? Because maybe he's got a movie that is scary that he's, just never told us about. And
Well, let me also just add that, I don't like it. It's not I just don't like them. But I can appreciate the genre. And I can appreciate how popular it is.
Sure.
How much money it makes. I get it. Horror is a huge genre of film.
Yeah. For me, hands down, one of my favorite ones is The Descent. Okay, so
Descent's really good.
It's about a group of women who, they're good friends. They get together maybe, once a year or something like that, and they do an adventure. And they decide to go caving. And, of course, without giving too much away, the situation just goes from bad to worse to worse to worse. And I think I like it because it's one of those things there, maybe it could happen, but I'm never going to be in a cave in the middle of nowhere, so I don't have to worry about it ever happening. I think that's what I like about certain horror movies.
I've gone swimming in a flooded cave.
Yeah!
I know.
Oh, man.
So think about that when that movie's in your mind and you're like,
that water,
I know.
man?
You're like, I can't touch. What's underneath me?
Well,
And you start imagining you're feeling things on your feet. And
Stuff starts bubbling underneath you.
It's just like, at one point, one of them gets stuck as she's crawling through. And I'm like, that's my worst nightmare. Because I was always the big girl among all my friends and everything. And it's like, if anyone was going to get stuck, it was going to be me. So, I was not going to put myself in that kind of position.
If you're claustrophobic, too, I might recommend staying away from caves.
Yeah, definitely.
See, people go spelunking,
Oh, man.
and you got to have nerves of steel.
When you're sitting, when
when
you got to inch your way through some of those things,
Yeah,
and you're
no,
sitting
that's
there
a hard pass. No, thank you.
trying to breathe through something like that, I'd
No.
be like, I can't move.
I'm not claustrophobic, but
Yeah.
that thought of that would be enough to probably make
Terrifying.
me.
But you're
Yeah.
a little guy. I mean, we could send you through lickety-split most places, I
It
think.
doesn't matter.
Like,
The
if we
moment
were
you get
somewhere-
wedged,
if
you
we
panic.
If we were in a cave somewhere and we had to get out,
Send Hilly in.
I would send Hilly out. I would
Go get help.
I'd pin a little note to his collar and say, Godspeed, you got this, buddy.
Please help.
You got this.
We are stuck at coordinates, blah, blah, blah.
So are you saying Descent is like your number one all-time
That's
fave?
like one of my favorites. It really is. I'm also a fan of the Conjuring series.
Very good. I saw that in theaters, the first one.
Yes, yeah.
I've never sighed a sigh of relief. Like, I've never been so happy
It's
a movie
intense.
was over. Like,
Yeah.
the credits rolled, and I was like, thank God.
Right.
I was like, the ride's over. I couldn't take it anymore.
I gotta get out of this theater. I gotta get out of here.
Well, what
was
I liked
fine.
about The Conjuring is, Ed and Lorraine Warren, they were people that actually really,
Real
truly
people.
existed.
True
and
people,
these were stories that were taken from their case files. Now, I'm sure they had the Hollywood twist, of course, but for the most part, you could Google most of these and find out more about these stories that, let's face it, were truly terrifying.
Sounds like something as soon as the movie's done, you run out. Is there a Disney flick around here somewhere?
Hilly would like him because he's not a big fan of the supernatural, right? Would you sit through a movie that's all about the supernatural?
Okay, let me just
What
define.
don't you like about
I don't
horror
like
movies?
gore,
I don't like gore either.
blood, and gut. Yeah, but you will sit in a movie that has that. I
Well,
won't.
A little bit. Well, I'm not going to sit through Saw or anything like that.
So
Those are
have
just
you ever seen
gross.
Saw?
No.
Okay.
I refuse.
So that's an absolute deal breaker for me. I will not do it.
Really?
But I like thrillers. I like movies that, maybe he's, like whatever. Something that keeps suspense
So
and
if
whatnot.
So what if it's gore with a purpose?
No.
Like it's a vampire movie, and
No.
of course somebody's going to get bit.
No. Gore. Again,
Really?
it depends. Gore, if he's just sinking his, and you're not getting a lot of.
There might be a trickle.
See, it depends on the level, I suppose. But generally speaking, gore, no, not going. I'm not going for hacked limbs. I'm not going for heads getting cut off.
So what about action-packed shows that have a lot of gore? Do you know?
I like that.
Oh, you
Isn't
do
that
like
funny?
that? It's
So
different.
weird.
Well, no. Again, what kind of gore?
It just depends. Well, I guess in action movies they don't really focus too much on that, do they?
No.
I see what you're saying. You don't like the body grotesque horror like
Although,
that kind of stuff.
here's a funny exception, and Jordan will appreciate this. We watched The Boys.
Oh, great!
On
There's
Amazon.
a lot of gore on The Boys.
There is gore in there. Okay,
But you like it.
I had and again I remember watching it going, oh
Yeah. But again, I see what you're saying though. It doesn't focus on. It's not the body horrorness of it. It doesn't linger on the fact of like that's what it's trying to do.
They're not continuing the camera in. It's like boom and it's done.
Yeah,
like that.
I mean,
So,
I'm not into like the horror films where like they're the torture films and dismemberment and all. There's enough sickos in the world. They don't need any more ideas.
That's
the way
what
I
the
look
horror
at it.
movies are all about.
Right.
It's about the kills.
It's
It's about the
psychological.
off-the-wall
Right.
craziness. How crazy and bizarre can you
the
be?
old school horror flicks, the Frankensteins and all those, Dracula even.
Oh, yeah.
No problem. Bela Lugosi and all those.
Oh, or if Vincent Price was in a movie, I was in.
Oh, Vincent Price.
You were in a Vincent Price movie?
No, I said, you don't listen. I said, if Vincent Price was in a movie, I was all in.
Oh, I thought
And I was in.
I thought she was in a Vincent Price movie. That's cool. Which one was it?
Wow.
Vincent Price is a very dapper man.
Edward Scissorhands. I was very, very young. No.
I think my favorite horror movie is probably the John Carpenter remake of The Thing. Great movie.
Really?
And
I don't think I've ever watched that
The
one.
Thing, and you probably won't like it because there's a lot of body horrorness to it. It's all about that, actually. So
it's not
I know for a
it's not
fact
a creature feature.
it is a creature feature. So it
Okay.
100% is.
Okay.
So you haven't seen it. I'll give you a quick summary
But
of
it's
it.
a creature that's doing the stuff, not
It
a
is.
person.
It is. It's an alien, technically.
I could do that.
But
yes.
it's called The Thing. So what it does is it assimilates people. It literally can take form of somebody, look exactly like them. But I don't want to spoil too
Like
much.
Hilly.
Yeah. It's like identical.
How do you know I'm real?
Identical to them, but they're not them. But they have all their thoughts. They can act like them. They basically can straight up look like an actual person. You wouldn't know it's them unless they do certain things to find out who's the thing.
Okay. Because, see, I like creature features. I like things like, Jaws and, the Godzilla.
But I know you
probably,
because it is definitely for example, The Thing possesses this dog at first, and once they find out that it's the thing, it makes itself known, and it starts to eat other people. Is what's happening, right?
Good grief.
But the dog starts to tentacles start shooting out of the dog.
Yeah, you can keep that movie.
The jaw goes back.
You take that movie out of here right now. Ain't no way. I'm
snaps
sorry.
back. And
This is the most graphic podcast you've ever done before.
Now, you guys, I've talked to you.
It's so good.
I've talked to you about this before, and individually, and I think we actually may have hit it on one of our podcasts. But is Signs considered a horror flick?
See, we were just talking about this. Funny enough,
It's more of an alien movie.
I would say is it got some horror elements to it? I'd say it's more a thriller, maybe. It's like a suspense thriller.
That was
Yeah.
one 2002, I think it was. That when that movie came out, I was watching it on TV. I didn't see it at the movie, so it was like VCR or whatever, And I watched it, and then something happened, whatever the scene was, and I stopped. Oh no, I can't handle this.
Yeah.
And then it was maybe a week later, I resumed it. And then there's the creature in the closet, and I'm like, no, I can't watch. So it took me about 2 weeks to watch that movie. But you know what? It was a wonderful movie.
Yeah.
And the message on it,
Yeah.
Mel Gibson was incredible in that thing. But again, it had the elements of suspense. It was so suspenseful.
Right.
You didn't know if suddenly a hand was just going to go, ah, you know what I mean, or something. So,
well, like I was telling Jordan, the husband and I, we watched A Quiet Place 2 last night. We'd seen the first one. It was great. We saw the prequel. I can't remember what it was called. But, is that technically a horror movie? But it's a bunch of, in case you haven't seen it, aliens. It's alien based.
okay, is there gore in it?
I mean, these aliens, they're slamming bodies around and snapping people in half and, eating them and stuff.
Okay,
But it's all very quick.
Going back to this, I mentioned The Boys. I love The Walking Dead. How much gore is in that? I mean, when the walkers get you, and
it's got zombies in it, I would consider that's a horror. I would consider that it's a horror series.
Yeah.
100%.
Before I started watching that, I asked one of my previous co-hosts, she was really into The Walking Dead. I said, does that have gory in it? She goes, well, when they bite you and start chewing, you hear the. I go, okay, that sounds like...
You hear the squelching.
Yeah, but I got hooked into it immediately. And I know my wife is like me. She doesn't like gore. But I said, hon, you got to watch this. I watched like the first 2 episodes. And I go, you got to see this. It's really good. She goes, oh, I'm not going to like it. No. Trust me, you will like it. It's an amazing story.
I liked The Walking Dead until they got to Terminus, and it became, man versus man.
Right.
I liked it so
you
much
like it
more
man
when
versus
it's man
walkers.
versus zombies. Yeah.
What I didn't like, and what I didn't like of particular that show is that they kept splitting up. It's like, stay together. They can't. It's
the
like
first rule of horror movies.
Yes.
They go and do their own thing, and then it was like nothing but expedition for like 30 episodes until finally you're like, something cool's happened again. They're not just wandering.
Right.
Well, thank God Negan showed up. That's all I can say.
He turned it around. I'll tell you, too, Alien and Aliens, by the way. I go back and forth to which one's better. I don't know if the first movie's better or the second movie's better.
Second.
I don't know.
I'm an Aliens fan.
I want to say that, too, but every time I'm like...
epic battle at the very end of Alien.
Great. You are right. And a lot of me, like I said, a lot of me wants to say that the second one is probably my favorite one. But every time it gets still, I'm like, I think it might be. I always think of the first one again, too. It's just like, it's just too good. The first one had more horror elements, I think, than the second one did. It was more kind of, especially at the end, it's more action-packed. But that's what I love about it. I love everything about that. I just watched Alien, not to get off topic. It's not off topic, I guess.
It's not. It's completely on topic.
So during October, I watch like a scary movie every single day of October.
Oh, you crazy man. You crazy man.
No, Jordan and I were just talking about this because the husband texted me. He was like, The Conjuring tonight? I'm like, okay.
Well, it's spooky season.
Yeah,
tis the season. I got to do
it.
So I just got done recently watching Alien Romulus, and it takes place in between the first and second movie.
Right.
It's one of the better ones they've made. If you're a fan of like the show or anything like that, watch it. It's great.
Is Ghostbusters a horror flick?
No.
It's a comedy, obviously.
It fits into spooky season, but it's not terrifying.
It's like a Halloween comedy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Ghostbusters is a horror movie.
Right.
Because like it's not exactly scary.
Right.
Yeah. It's more creepy.
Yeah.
Like The Nightmare Before Christmas
and it's kind of
The Corpse Bride.
Yeah, it's got that cutesiness to it, right? It's a family movie. And
Beetlejuice is not horror either.
No. Again,
that's more
scary,
Halloween-y,
weird
funny.
things happen.
Yeah.
Like heads coming off and whatnot.
It has like some jump scares, but again, I would almost consider that more thriller too, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more creepy, more Halloween-y than it is like an actual legit.
I wouldn't call it
movie.
horror. I would just call it. It's Tim Burton. It's Tim Burton.
Yeah.
He's got his own kind of style.
The Nightmare Before Christmas is probably more horror than that is.
Not really.
Even
I
that.
said more than, but just for comparative
and even
purposes.
that's like a Christmas movie with creepy elements.
Right.
Really,
Exactly.
is what that is.
Exactly. And it's if you're gonna call that horror, then you gotta call Edward Scissorhands.
That's true, and that's not
horror,
really either.
That's not it either. No,
Hey, Erin.
no, not at all. Still not gonna let you cut my hair. Well, actually, I take one for the team.
We're separated here, so
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can't do that. She's got her force field up.
Yeah.
Can't reach Jordan either.
But Children of the Corn, that's got to be like one of the cheesiest ones, but at the same time, I love it. Did you ever see that one? I don't know why I'm asking
I
Kevin.
haven't.
Well, I don't know.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen Cujo. I haven't seen.
Oh, why haven't you seen Cujo?
That's a classic. You got to watch
Oh,
Cujo.
no,
Man.
especially when you start involving animals and dogs now. Not interested.
Well, especially rabies, because that's a thing that can happen. Like a dog can get rabies and go absolutely feral.
I'll deal with the reality.
Yeah,
okay, not the.
Weirdly enough, those actually are the movies that scare me the most because it's like grounded in reality.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's or like what's that one? It's a movie. I'm trying to remember. I think John Voight might be in it, and I think also Alec Baldwin. He's like they're in a forest, a bear's hunting them. You know what I'm talking about? Like there's literally just
The Ravenet? Or no?
No, it's not the Revenant. It's not the Revenant.
That's Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, that's Leonardo DiCaprio. But there's literally like the entire time they're getting hunted by this like bear in the woods, and they can't escape it. Like it's just stalking. There's a looming threat of it the entire movie, and then at the very end, it like shows itself. And the guy, he's cornered. He's like back. There's a canyon. I can't remember what the name of this movie.
Can you climb a tree if a bear is chasing you, by the way?
No, I think a bear can climb a tree.
That was my plan. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if it's not looking for you, but if it's trying to track you down, you think a bear's not going to...
I have honey here. Go get it.
You think a bear's not going to be like, well, I can climb right up that.
No, Children of the Corn was like definitely a guilty pleasure, but another one that I love, and I wouldn't call it like a horror movie, but The Lost Boys.
The Lost Boys is good.
Yeah.
Vampire movie.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, it's a vampire movie in case you didn't know. But I mean, it's a good vampire movie. Or maybe it's just because I'm a child of the 80s.
No, it just is. No. Lost Boys is just a good movie in general. No, I actually that's probably one of my favorite vampire movies. Actually, I really like Lost Boys a lot.
Yeah, hands down. So Hilly, I mean, like, what do you consider scary? I mean, you're just saying Signs. That's the scariest movie you've ever seen.
No, I mean, I've
like
seen,
we want to know. We're curious.
I don't go out of my way to watch a movie that's considered or called a horror flick. So I mean, if I see hey, this movie is. I won't see it. I won't even try to watch it.
Okay, so what have you accidentally stumbled upon? How about that?
I don't know. I mean, I've never seen The Full Exorcist, nor will I ever.
That's another.
But I mean,
really
I've seen clips of it with the head turning around,
or the Omen,
and the vomit, and all that, stuff like
Damien.
Yeah, exactly. I've never. That's the most I ever see is like clips of something, but I don't. It's not. It doesn't appeal to me. I know people find it entertaining, and if you do, man, knock yourself out. To me, it's not entertaining. It's disturbing. And so
I think people like to be scared. It's what it is. It's that thrill of it's like
you're scared, but you know nothing's going to happen.
But you're safe,
to you.
right?
Yeah,
right.
That's the appeal.
What happens though? Part of it is when, and I'm just speaking for myself. When I look at that kind of stuff, it puts disturbing thoughts in my head, and then it stays with me. You know what I mean? Like, you ever watched a movie that you really, like, even after it was over, you thought about it. Benjamin Button. That was a movie for me like that. Man, I thought about that movie for weeks afterward. It really made an impact on me, That same sort of thing. If it's a horror flick and there's all kinds of grisly
like
stuff
disturbing
going on,
images. It'll stick with you.
It's like I don't want that in my head. I already got enough weird stuff in my head. Okay, talk to this woman who works with me every morning. Okay, I got all kinds of
true story,
strange stuff going on up there. I don't need anything extra.
So what's the Liv Tyler movie? Is it The Strangers?
Yes.
Okay,
that's it.
That was a movie that stuck with me for a
based
long,
on
long
true
time,
story, by
because,
the way.
Yeah, we grew up in the middle of nowhere. Your closest neighbor was like a half a mile away. And, the whole premise is these people come and this couple's just staying at a cabin overnight, and they answer the door to try to help these people. And next thing you know, they're like taken hostage and stuff. And like near the end, Liv Tyler's like, why are you doing this? And the girl's like, because you answered. What?
If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure. So it's not only a true story, by the way. The Strangers,
Creeper.
It was based on a true story. Like that's an actual. Like these people were doing that. And I think it might have been based something around this area, I think, if I remember correctly.
Meanwhile, Aaron's taking a note to self. Call parents at log cabin.
At least I thought.
Buying triple locks for front door.
Or that's always how sometimes.
Getting yet another large breed dog.
Those movies get those rumors. That's always the rumor I heard. It's like The Strangers was, it's. I know for a fact it is based on true story, but the rumor was it was based off of an event that happened here in Missouri. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've always heard.
Yikes.
Scary movies.
That was one that stuck with me for a long, long time. Having grown up in the middle of nowhere with no super close neighbors nearby.
I can't remember if it's Night of the Living Dead 2 or I think it might be the second one where it has, and it just always stuck with me. We're talking about disturbing things. I can't remember. I think it's like the bad guy of the show or the movie, but it's where like it's his death scene. It's where he's like dying and he's getting overrun by all these like zombies, right? And it's the sound he makes when he is like he screams at the zombies, like choke on it, like because they're eating him, right?
Yeah,
so like, but like the way he says it, and then like one of the zombies grabs him, and then you just hear his scream is just so intense, dude.
No thanks.
And the sounds you hear is just. Oh, it's like the worst, man.
What's interesting, and I've never heard anybody discuss this, actors and actresses who are in horror flicks.
Yeah.
Because obviously when they're filming it, you don't have all the other elements that we see, the music and the effects and everything. So I wonder for them, when they're, and there's so many special effects, obviously, in horror flicks. I wonder when they're in it.
Is it as terrifying as when we're watching it?
Which is obviously not. Because there's, again, those other elements add to the terrifying nature of it. So are they just like, okay, there's an axe in my head. Okay, and cut. Hey, that was pretty good. Okay, lunch. You know, and
probably.
Like,
With all sorts of it's like your eyeballs hanging out, and all this crazy makeup, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, I'll have a sandwich."
Yeah, exactly. I've never heard anybody in an interview discuss what it's like to film a horror flick, or if you have like a method actor, I want this to be as scary as it can while we're filming because I want my reaction to be real, you know?
Right.
There was, I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was Evil Dead. It was the newest one, Evil Dead Rise.
Right.
There's this scene where she's talking about like this whole elevator like kind of fills up with blood or whatever, right? And I guess it was like the most blood ever on a set. Like they had to use so much insane amount of blood and all this. They were covered in like gallons and gallons of fake blood.
Which one was this?
I think it was Evil Dead Rise. It's the latest one, which by the way, Evil Dead's also great. It's not super, like it is kind of scary, but it's more like slapstick, dark comedy.
Right.
But it's really good. It's very graphic.
You have to tell the story because you told it and you told it so well about Alien, the coming out of the chest. Alien thing.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember how that happened?
Oh yeah. So I just know way too many.
Wait till you hear this. This is amazing.
Yeah.
So when I had never heard this before.
When they filmed the first,
nut.
I know too much about things. So the first Alien, they're filming this scene where like it's the chest burster scene. It's when you first like see a xenomorph basically. Mm-hmm. And no one else in the crew and cast knew what was going on, except the people filming, obviously, and the director, and then the person that it was happening to.
Sure.
But the actor had this apparatus strapped to him, and the alien bursts out of his chest, right? And so they're just all eating. The scene we're just eating and enjoying ourselves. So that's
in
what
the
they're
scene,
doing.
that's
in
what
the
they're
script, that's all it is, right?
This scene calls for us to be sitting here and eating. Okay,
so the scene just calls that, we're just sitting there eating. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they think he starts to choke, and they all start panicking. And they're all, like, looking, too. You see him looking at the crew, and the camera, like, director being like, yell, cut, we need help here, right?
Yeah.
And then they throw him up on the table, and then that's when he comes out of his chest, you know, and the alien scurries off.
So basically, they were just going for a genuine
But
real
everyone's reaction is real.
That's
and
a legitimate reaction.
No one knew it was going to happen.
Oh,
right?
my gosh.
They had an idea something was coming because they were filmed, so they were like, something's going to happen, but they weren't expecting
it's
that.
It's as if all three of us are sitting here and suddenly,
exactly.
You wouldn't expect that.
Exactly.
You didn't know that was going to happen.
No. But insane, really, again, another reason why it's just one of my top 3 movies for sure for me is it's The Thing, number 1, and then either Alien or Aliens.
Hey, guys.
Interchangeable. So.
Something's happening here.
If that happens to you, I'm putting in my 2-week notice. I'm just throwing that out there. I ain't gonna recover from that.
Were you kissed by a facehugger?
So what do you think about like Poltergeist? Do you think Hilly could handle Poltergeist?
I think he could definitely.
Is that there?
They're here. Yeah.
Because are the aliens in the TV or something? Is that or the scary people or whatever?
It's not aliens.
Yeah.
It's ghosts. So like not to spoil too much. Basically, the house was built on a burial ground.
Yeah.
That's what that's the premise of the movie.
You can spoil it for me because I'm not going to see it. I've got so many other
40
movies.
years,
It's been 40 years
that I have not seen yet. Trust me, a horror movie is not going to jump in line for it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Had there ever been a horror movie that you heard about and you're kind of curious?
No.
Did you watch Stranger Things? I would consider
that.
I would consider that horror. I think that's absolutely horror. So you do like it and enjoy it.
Demogorgon or whatever.
Yeah, the Demogorgons. Yeah, those are crazy.
I don't know.
So you do kind of like horror.
I guess it depends. I guess it comes down to your definition. But I'm saying I don't go out of my way to, I don't know. I stumbled across Stranger Things. Part of it, I guess, probably was, okay, there wasn't anything scary at the beginning. It was just weird, whatever. What was happening with the kid in the beginning.
Kind of ramps up as the seasons
and then it's
go.
like, then you're like, okay, then you're sort of invested. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, there's something really weird going on. What's this upside down?
Yeah.
So at that point, okay, they've got you, and you're going to want to go. But
I would say this latest season for sure too. Like you're talking about as horror as you can get when it comes to the genre.
I agree.
It's great though.
Hilly, I will teach you a little something that I learned as a kid when both my brothers worked at a local video store.
Keep all your limbs up in bed. Don't let anything hang.
Hang on. I'm not quite there yet. And they would bring all kinds of movies. My mom and dad would be like, okay, hey, Clint, that's my oldest brother. Yeah. Can you watch your younger siblings? We're going to go to dinner or whatever. Okay, Mom, no problem. He would bring home, all kinds of stuff that we probably shouldn't have watched, but Yeah, that's how I first saw, Poltergeist and The Exorcist and all this other stuff. So I would always have
one of... You would be in so much trouble if I was a parent and you knew. So much trouble.
I would always have one of my grandma's Afghans, like that she crocheted.
Right.
Because if you pulled it up, you could kind of filter out the evil. You could still see just a sliver of what was going on,
out the evil.
but you couldn't see the full screen. So that was always kind of my little trick. I just would filter out the evil.
But again, my advice is good too. When you go to bed, make sure all your hands and limbs are up. You can't let anything hang down.
We're not talking about you watching them in bed. We're talking about
I'm talking
when
afterwards.
You're enjoying them.
When you have those awful memories.
Great. You know what was a horror movie to me when I was a kid? Great Mouse Detective, by the way. That bat that would kidnap the other mice. Terrifying.
Okay. Kind of see that.
Dark and stormy night, busting into the house. I hated that.
Well, as a kid, I hated the Black Cauldron. There's times I've seen it as an adult now, and I'm like, what was our mother thinking, letting us watch this? Well, she saw Disney on the cover and called it a day.
When The Wizard of Oz first came out in 1939,
those flying monkeys.
That was considered too intense for children.
It was.
It was not put out as a children's flick.
Okay.
So it became, obviously. But I mean, now we look at it, now we go, whatever, But
at the time,
think about it, that witch melting, Dorothy kills her. Spoiler alert, by the way, the witch dies at the end of The Wizard of Oz.
It's filmed in the 30s, so sorry.
you've had almost 100 years for that movie to... the flying monkeys, right, and all that.
God, that's a whole nother topic, to me, honestly, is horror elements in non-horror movies, which, to me, Raiders of the Lost Ark, the end.
Oh, yeah.
The melting
out
face.
Of nowhere, it just all of a sudden, you're
Mary,
like, horror movie.
Look, Mary.
But you'll watch that?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
That was, excuse me.
See, I can't
Raiders of the Lost Ark. But see, that was the only horror element in it, really.
Yeah. Or Lord of the Rings.
And it was at the end of the movie.
Fellowship of the Ring, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
When Bilbo asks Frodo for the ring back, and real quick, out of nowhere, he just, his face changes and he hisses at Frodo.
Yeah.
But as a kid, not expecting that, you're like, I was watching, I'm like, it got me. That moment got me.
Oh, gosh. So we could never tempt you into watching a mild.
Stop trying. Just a mild.
I've got
too many movies on my list that I'm never going to get through for the remainder of my life.
But what is really, really good?
You can attach those movies to the list, and by the time I'm on my deathbed, I'm going to have to apologize to you. Sorry, Erin, and never got to any of your horror movies.
Craig T. Nelson is in
Coach.
Is in Poltergeist.
Yes.
What could be scary about that, Kevin?
You have to at least watch Alien. It's like I would say The Thing, but The Thing is probably too graphic for both of you. I would say watch.
Oh no, I love it.
Have you seen The Thing?
Alien?
Oh, Alien. Have you seen?
Yeah.
If you liked Alien, you should watch The Thing. I think you'd like it.
Okay.
It's definitely gross, but it's so good, and it's so
you guys commiserate there and just enjoy your horror.
We have an entire list of movies.
There you go. You can talk
that are not only horror movies, but just movies in general.
And the good thing is
we're like, oh gosh, Kevin, have you ever seen this? He's like,
the good thing is my not wanting to isn't a problem, because if you have feelings about it, you can talk. You can both. You can.
But we have feelings we want to share with you.
No, you don't.
Kevin. We're a unit.
My response to your feelings will mean nothing.
That's not true.
I'll just be polite. I'll be polite about it. That's all.
I will make sure to bring Alien, and I'm going to make sure you watch it.
I'm not going to watch
you
Alien.
Can watch
dude.
You can watch. We will watch
I
it together.
have too much work to do. I'm here when I'm here at work.
We didn't say we were going to bring it to work.
We're going to have movie night, and we're going to watch.
You said movie night.
You said here, as in the radio station, which is where we film the KATcast.
We're not going to watch it on the clock. Calm down.
Okay, well, I'll be home by then.
No, you won't watch it on the clock. I'll watch it.
And you're going to turn all the lights down.
What are you doing? Work business.
9 o'clock at night.
Don't you worry, Jordan. I know the way to Kevin's house. We can get a split, no problem.
Oh, no, I'm not to let any of those kind of movies into my house.
Too late. We'll bring popcorn. It'll be great.
Oh, popcorn makes everything better.
It does.
Bring appetizers. He'll be fine.
A couple pizzas. Come on. It'll be fun.
If you have... Are you into horror movies? Do you like horror flicks, scary movies? Share with us what your favorites are, and Erin and Jordan will share their opinions on them.
I was going to say, depending on how gross it is, I may or may not watch it. But if it's good and spooky, I'll definitely watch it.
There's honestly nothing I won't watch. I'd
That's
watch
true.
anything and everything.
Yeah, Jordan has seen some of the most horrendous things.
KATcountry@mailzimmer.com. Let us know. Have a very happy Halloween.
Oh, no, you can't do a creepy voice.
I just
you don't
did.
like horror.
It's not scary. That's
yes,
why.
it is.
It's not a bit scary.
Okay, now you're. What's
Sound like a little Italian.
What is something Italian? Good grief.
He's trying to sound like Dracula.
There's no Italian horror movies, are there?
The fun.
Are there?
The fun Italian. I mean, the fun Italian sounding Dracula.
And now that it's gone off the rails,
Nobody's afraid of.
thank you for joining us for another KATcast. And if you ever have something that you want us to check into, or you want us to maybe talk about the next KATcast, you can email us,
Again.
KATcountry@mailzimmer.com.